I think the most appropriate question to begin the interview would be, tell us about yourself.
Charlie, I'm a person who loves his country, and I just needed to join the fight to get the country back on the track of freedom and the American spirit that made America the greatest nation on earth. And if we unleash the American spirit again, this country will just catapult back to greatness. Well, 2 years ago, I decided to throw away life as I knew it and go into the inner city and lead minority voters to the American dream, because this single act would change the world. And to reach people, I needed a friendly brand. So I formed an organization called the Community Values Coalition, and there's nowhere in Los Angeles that I'm not welcome as the founder of the Community Values Coalition. And I volunteer in gang intervention, youth outreach. We work with law enforcement, LAPD. Unfortunately, we work with moms whose kids have been killed, and we work with a lot of youth to keep them out of the gangs. But I'm also going to NAACP meetings. I serve on a lot of city committees. I'm really down at the street level, and probably the first executive in America to really throw away the executive life and go into the street for 2 years and figure out just exactly how things fail. And then it's a lot easier to figure out how they work. And after that 2 years, I think I really know how to fix a gang problem. I think I really know a lot about restoring the community in general. So I think that's the kind of experience people need to bring in order to really be of value and get things done.
How do you view the current situation in Congress and the economy?
There's two things that are imperative to controlling the federal government, Charlie. Number one is we have got to implement standard accounting practice. It's called GAAP accounting in business. But there's a reason that large public corporations are required by law to do GAAP accounting initial financial reports. You just can't hide anything in that system. And government puts out no sets of reports that anybody can find. So we've got to get government on standard GAAP accounting that every executive in the country can look at. And
you've talked about an ambitious program. How are you going to make this happen?
Government has become so big that it's about to destroy us, and this government appears to actually be trying to destroy us. And it's not enough even to stop Pelosi, Reid, and Obama. We haven't even stopped Jimmy Carter yet. He formed the Department of Energy in 1977 to break our lock on imported foreign oil, which was about 35% at the time, and it's now up to almost 57%. So we really need to stop Jimmy Carter before we get to Reid and Pelosi. But make no mistake about it, there's three components to an economy that touch everybody. And one is taxes, one is interest, and the third is energy. And we know what happens when taxes and interest get too high. And I don't understand why it's so hard to understand what happens when energy is held artificially too high. So we've played with taxes in the economy, we've played with interest in the economy. If we let energy production flow, we would just explode this economy by driving down the price of energy, and we would keep trillions of dollars at home, and not only keep it at home, but out of the hands of our potential enemies.
Looking back on your broad business background, what do you mean about business modeling? How does that apply in Congress?
But in 2010, somebody should be in jail for not knowing the impact of tax rates on revenue. Now, the economy performs the same, believe it or not, for Republicans and Democrats. So it's idiotic in the year 2010 to still be debating whether tax cuts are good or tax cuts are bad. And you have to go to dynamic modeling where you take into account the effect of the changed tax rate. Just like pricing has an effect on product sales. The more you charge, the less you sell. The less you charge, the more you sell. And there's a balance between total sales.
Illegal immigration has been a very hot issue in this country for well over 5 years. How do you feel about it as it applies here in California?
Charlie, illegal immigration is about the exploitation of people, and that needs to stop, and stop right now. This is just plain exploitation. And encouraging people to come to this country to be used as a cheap underground labor supply, or possibly, as some say, a voting bloc for one of the parties. That's just inhuman. And my second thought is that Republicans make a huge mistake only talking about Hispanics in the context of illegal immigration. Now, we have to secure our border. That's a given. So we go do it. But secondly, Harvard, Yale, USC, UCLA all have Hispanic alumni groups, proud Hispanic alumni groups. American Medical Association has a Hispanic doctor group, lawyers, engineers. Hispanics have won more medals of valor in our military defending this country than any other ethnic group. And there's 50 million proud American people of Hispanic heritage that are here, and they're being hurt as much by illegal immigration as anybody else. And when we talk to them, they're as much against illegal immigration as anybody. So the real issue with illegal immigration is we got to seal the border, we got to stop the incentives, and we got to enforce our laws. And there's nothing to debate. There is no other side of sealing the border. There's no other side of enforcing our laws. And there's no other side to stopping the incentives. There is no debate. It's just being kept alive by a political party, I believe, that really wants to benefit from the exploitation of people. And it's just wrong.